We've got ones that can see. Welcome everybody to today's show. I did a video on Jeff Bezos' wedding to Lauren Sanchez that took place that all the media is covering. And I did a spoof video on it. But lo and behold, after I did that video, I came across this story, an exclusive inside Jeff Bezos's and Lauren Sanchez's extravagant pizza party and the A-list guests you didn't see. So obviously, I need to do a video on this topic and to do an even deep dive so everybody out there can see that all these celebrities who are attending this wedding, there's a connection between all of them. And guess what? The connection isn't that they're all just rich and famous. The connection is that they're all parts of the same secret societies and they flash their gang signals to us every single day. But let's start with this because they always talk about pizza in code. Everybody out there who's followed my work over the years is well aware of what pizza means. But let's just give a recap to anybody out there that isn't familiar in the best terms that we can so that we can avoid detection. Pizza is a reference that celebrities, politicians, these people use out in the open, referring to a really unimaginable act being committed with somebody who is very tiny or small. Okay, let's put it that way for anybody out there. But I think at this point, the majority of people are well aware that pizza is a code that we often see, right? And that's why I've been covering this for years, showing you all of these celebrities like Miley Cyrus, showing you these disturbing, weird pictures that they post on their Instagram accounts of sticking their tongues out, licking pizza. It's all sexualized, right? Or we see them wearing pizza onesies, biting the pizza and giving you just a look that makes you say, are they eating pizza or are they doing something else? Katy Perry's another one I've shown you over the years, wearing the pizza onesie, provocative photos with pizza. You'll find these celebrities, Stephen Colbert, all of them, constantly referencing pizza. And it's not because it's their favorite food. It's code word. It's how they communicate with each other. Even Macaulay Culkin, who openly talks about two things. Bunny ears, which is a reference to pizza. It's a reference to that certain sauce that's red that we all have inside of our bodies that they lust over. And the other thing that Macaulay talks about is pizza. His band is called Underground Pizza Underground. You connect the dots with what is being referenced there. And even recently, I talked about the Pentagon pizza story. The mainstream media, USA Today, everybody was talking about this story about Pentagon pizza and how there was a report of high activity at the Pentagon ordering pizza before the attack, Israel's attack on Iran. It's coded. This is how they code this stuff. Nobody was tracking how many people were ordering Domino's at the Pentagon. How would you even start to do that? Is that even legal to track every purchase from every individual at the Pentagon? To Domino's, to Papa John's, to pizza, to local pizza places like the Comet Place, wink, wink. No, it's not possible. You know exactly what they're referencing. And then from there, they took this story and they mocked people with it. This is how they operate. They speak in code out in the open. They brag. They have no problem, no shame in bragging because they know they've trained the weak minds out there that are on autopilot 24/7, that don't think critically, to dismiss this sort of thing. They don't want to think, and they don't think. So when they hear this stuff, they've already been trained to think, oh, it's a crazy conspiracy to talk about pizza or talk about anything else that's going on with these people. They just always constantly reference it, right? So you're going to tell me that Jeff Bezos had a $50 million wedding. $50 million is what they're claiming. For 3 days. And they had an extravagant pizza party. You want me to believe that they're talking about pizza the food? That Leo DiCaprio flew over there for pizza the food? For Jeff Bezos' wedding? Now, we know that there's a lot of acts that are going on at this wedding, and this is them admitting it to you. Because the wedding that you see on the outside of these people all dressed up elegantly, driving around in boats, that's nothing compared to what they were really doing in the after hours, when the cameras were turned off, when the paparazzi wasn't allowed to photograph them. And this is their reference to that, talking about an extravagant pizza party. They want you to believe that all these people like Kim Kardashian were there and they're eating pizza. They're just like everybody else. They just eat pizza. This is how they operate. So the story goes that the first night party was a very Italian pizza party. They saw staff loading countless trays of fresh dough, giant mozzarella balls, and copious amounts of olive oil into the heritage venue, as well as a tiny orange on the vine tomatoes, right? They put this story out there and they circulate this so that they could openly communicate with one another, the people who are in the inn. All the people who are the heads of these corporations, all the other celebrities out there who see this stuff, who tweet about the same stuff, from the James Gunns of the world who openly get away with this stuff, to Rainn Wilson, all these actors out there that I've broken down and exposed on the website for many, many years. They openly communicate this way, and they know that they can get away with it because they know they have people trained to dismiss it. And if you're looking at Jeff Bezos, this isn't the first time that there's been weird stories about Jeff Bezos and pizza, right? What is the 2 pizza rule everyone's talking about? And how did it lead Amazon to success? Well, Bezos was claiming that it was his 2 pizza rule that helped Amazon become what it's become. Now, what do you think that's a reference to? This is supposedly the thing that Jeff Bezos claims made Amazon what it is today. The 2 pizza rule. Listen to how ridiculous this is. The 2 pizza rule refers to Jeff Bezos' management principle at Amazon, where teams should be small enough that they can be fed with just 2 pizzas. The concept emphasizes the importance of small, efficient teams for faster decision-making, tighter collaboration, and increased accountability. The idea is that if a team is too large to be fed with 2 pizzas, it's likely too large to be effective. And the sheep will eat this up. This story is out there, and people think that this is a real story on how Jeff Bezos made Amazon successful. Now, we know Amazon, just like these other corporations, are all branches of the government. They're branches of DARPA. These people act as the face of these corporations. They're all connected to one another, which again is how you see all these celebrities connected to someone like Jeff Bezos. What does Jeff Bezos have to do with Leonardo DiCaprio? How do they know one another? One guy's in movies, the other guy is a nerd who runs a tech company, right? Well, I'll show you how they're all connected momentarily. But what they're telling you with this story is the connection with Jeff Bezos and pizza, and they're rubbing it in your face because it's a big club, and all these people in the club know exactly what they're talking about when they put stories like this out there. And again, Jeff Bezos, if you haven't even seen the Amazon headquarters, it is designed exactly the way the Tower of Babel is depicted. And that's what they're rebuilding. Remember, with AI governance, they're rebuilding the Tower of Babel through artificial intelligence and technology. I've exposed the connection between Amazon and the New World Order many times, and I have a video that's on the website that's about 30 to 40 minutes long that everybody on the website should watch if you're over there. And if you're not, I recommend you join and you watch. It's been taken down many times. But you can see the connection between Amazon and every single agenda out there, the building of the surveillance state, how Amazon has the Amazon Go store, which is conditioning for the mark of the beast, being able to buy and sell with biometrics, with a biometric surveillance inside of your genetic code where you can walk in and out of locations. There's all sorts of stuff connected with Amazon. We know, obviously, with the drone deliveries, imprisoning people in their homes, the Ring cameras, the listening devices inside of the home, like the Alexa. So Jeff Bezos obviously shown his affiliation. Here's Jeff holding up a CD or a DVD. It looks like a CD-ROM over his eye back in the 90s. This is what he used to look like before he took off his flesh coat and really revealed himself as some type of reptilian, right? But here's the common theme for anyone who's new to all this stuff. All these celebrities, they show you like a gang. They show you their signs and symbols, right? Here's all these celebrities holding up a hand over their eye on prominent magazine covers, prominent photo shoots, not in their house playing peekaboo, playing silly games with their kid. These are on the cover of magazines like Vogue and People magazine. These are on the covers of albums, right? So you see the connection between signs and symbols, how Bezos is holding this up over his eye, and then all these celebrities, right, who do it over and over and over again, including holding up a 666 symbol over their eye, which some people aren't even familiar with that symbol, so let me just make it real clear for anybody who's new to all this stuff. The 666, you might know it as the AOK sign, okay? They make the number 6 with their hand, and then the 3 other fingers make 3 of them, 3 6s. Some people look at it as rabbit ears. It's not. It is 666. So I want to take a look now at the connection between all these celebrities who are at this particular wedding. And somehow the sheeple out there just think all famous people naturally get together because once you're rich and you're famous, you just automatically become friends, right? Well, they're all friends with each other because they're members of the same club, the same secret societies, and they reveal themselves through signs and symbols as I've shown you over the years. So let's take a quick look at the husband of Jeff Bezos, the newlywed Lauren Sanchez, right? See the dress that Lauren's wearing? Well, if you zoom in on the dress, you can actually even see the Eye of Horus deliberately placed right on the dress, and that's how they communicate. The Eye of Providence, also known as the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. And that's the common theme that you will see here with the guest list and Jeff Bezos and his newlywed wife. So we start with this, Jared Kushner, right? Anybody wondering what Ivanka Trump is doing at this wedding with Jared Kushner? Right? Somehow these two are connected because the guy just happens to be rich and runs Amazon. Well, I'll show you the connection. See the wrist right there on Kushner? See that wristband that he's wearing, that little red one? Yeah, that's really where the connection lies. And here's Leonardo DiCaprio who shows up, who also happens to be somebody who has that red wristband on his wrist, and of course is connected to the United Nations and the World Economic Forum. He is one of the government's assets for promoting the climate agenda, getting the sheeple to believe in climate change. That is his job. Remember, actors and celebrities are government agents. They are assets. They are not famous for the reasons that you think. You've been trained to think that they went to school, and so did you, but they were more talented than you are. Then you figure out, wait a minute, a lot of these people are related to one another. A lot of these people only date other celebrities, right? Yeah, because this is an inside job. You see, there's no getting that American dream as far as becoming a famous actor. You got to be in the club. These people are trained in mind control. That's what they're trained in. They're not trained in theater. They're trained in mind control operations. So you see the bracelet on Leo's wrist. And of course, here's Leo holding up the 666 hand sign over his eye, kind of like we saw Jeff Bezos hold up his hand over his eye earlier, right? So I guess that's the connection between them. Then you get the Kardashian clan. I've talked about them many times. The Armenian witches, that's what they are. All the Kardashians, they're the highest ranking witches in Hollywood. That is why they're famous. Nobody can even tell me why Kim Kardashian is famous. Nobody knows. They're just like, man, the Kardashians are so popular and famous. Then you go, what do you think they're famous for? They go, I don't know. I guess because they're good looking, right? You don't even know what team they're playing for. You don't even know if they're actually the genders they claim to be. But what they really are witches, right? I've shown you all the signs and symbols with the Kardashians, even recently showing you the youngest Jenner dressed as a witch, and even on its birthday, had a cake that says, witches don't age. Because that's what these people are. They are witches and Satanists, and you've been trained to think that they don't actually exist, but they do. And they're all your famous celebrities, right? So you see eye symbolism with them all. Then you get people like Tom Brady and Sydney Sweeney, who are apparently dancing at the wedding, and that's all the sheeple care about. They're like, Tom Brady is dancing with Sydney Sweeney? Well, most people probably don't even know who Sydney Sweeney is, but if you take a quick look, here's Sydney holding up an object over her eye from her Instagram account, March 27, 2024. The Many Faces, right? This is one of her photos that was taken for a magazine shoot. I guess the people taking the photos, they all just want everyone to hold something up over their eye, right? Well, that's because the people who take the photos are all in on it too. How do you think you become a famous photographer? You think because you're good at pressing the click button, you're more artistic than other people out there and you make millions of dollars? Those people are also involved in photographing things that you couldn't even imagine. That's, people such as Terry Richardson, who hangs out with Miley Cyrus and Jared Leto. All people you could see clearly are Satanists, including Terry Richardson. Well, Terry Richardson photographs a lot of things you're not supposed to see, like the things that occur at the Bohemian Grove and probably the things that occur at this wedding. When the main cameras are off, when the paparazzi aren't around. Those events are photographed. They love to keep their photographs, and they have photographers that they train and hire who also are members of the same secret society. Here's another one of Sydney Sweeney with an eyeball in its mouth, right? I mean, there's just an obsession with eyeballs, right? Like I've said before, everybody's a failed optometrist. These people just all flunked out of eyeball school. They all wanted to, they love eyes. They wanted to just make sure everybody's eyesight was great. That's all they care about, right? Again, it's the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, as you saw in the collage earlier. Obsession over eyeballs, right? Even this picture, it's the same exact picture of Katy Perry almost. Katy Perry had the eyeball in the mouth and has an obsession with eyes as well. And speaking of Katy Perry's, I guess now ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband, or I don't know, Katy Perry, who the husband or who the wife is in these situations, but I mean, I think you could take a guess. But Orlando Bloom was there. And what's the connecting thing between Orlando Bloom? What would he have to do with Jeff Bezos? Jeff Bezos just a big fan of Pirates of the Caribbean because nobody can really name a movie that Orlando Bloom is in. Nobody even knows why he's famous. I had to look it up. I've never seen the Pirates of the Caribbean, but apparently that's the movie that he's known for, right? But I guess the connection isn't that he's a fan of the movies and maybe a fan of the ride at Disney. The connection is this, because here he is on a magazine cover holding his hand up over his eye. What, do you get a bug in his eye? Well, maybe wouldn't the photographer want to take another picture? Hey, Orlando, we don't want you to be picking your eye crust out. You got an eye booger? Orlando, with new picture, reshoot. Oh, no, this is prominently placed in a magazine, because that's how they operate. You would think if you were taking a picture and somebody who said cheese and you wiped your eye, you'd say, take another picture. I really want a picture of me picking my eye snot out, right? No, but nobody thinks, right? So back to Tom Brady, because there's a connection with Tom Brady. Now, the connection isn't that Jeff Bezos is a New England Patriots fan or a Tampa Bay Bucks fan. What is the connection between them? Because Tom Brady plays football and he's rich and does nobody know? Well, the connection again is the occult, right? Remember when Tom Brady openly admitted that his then wife, Giselle Bundchen, doing witchcraft for Tom before the games, has an altar for Tom, does witchcraft rituals, right? Here it is out of his own mouth if you think it's a conspiracy.
My wife over the years, she's so about the power of intention, and believing things that are really going to happen. And she always makes a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much. And so she put together a little altar for me that I could bring with pictures of my kids. And I have these little special stones and healing stones and protection stones. And she has me wear a necklace and take these drops she makes. I say all these mantras. And I stopped questioning her a long time ago. I did. I just shut up and listened. And at first I was like, this is kind of crazy. And then about 4 years ago, we were playing the Seahawks, and she said, you better listen to me. This is your year, but this is all the things you're going to have to do to win. And I did all those things, and my God, worked. It was pretty good. And then in 2015, it was about early January, and she said, you know how much I love you? And I said, yeah. And she said, I just want to let you know this is not going to be your year. And of course we lost. I said, what does 16 look like? And she said, 16 is going to be your year. So it was early January this year, and I said, babe, I'm asking, do we have a chance? And she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, and you're really going to have to listen to me. So, man, I listened to her. Right after the game, she said, see, I did a lot of work. You do your work, I do mine. She said, you're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch.
Right, and I guess it's a coincidence, too, that Tom Brady is known as the GOAT, and they made the GOAT, they continue to make the GOAT and that, the symbolism of GOAT a normal thing. So these people can get away with talking about goats in the open. Oh, the GOAT, the GOAT, the GOAT, right? They're really referencing Baphomet and normalizing the GOAT. But if you actually look, obviously Satanists have always been obsessed with that goat, the Baphomet, right? But they want you to believe it means greatest of all time. That's why they just get away with it. So Tom Brady's there. Look, Tom Brady's standing next to Usher. Huh? Anybody wondering why Usher's there? What? They dusted off Usher's coffin, apparently. Here's Usher, right? Usher, what's Usher's connection to Bezos? He likes that song, yeah? Is that what it is? Oh, here he is. Here's a I don't know if he's playing Zorro or what, but here he's got something over his eye. Right? Look at his hand there, even doing the little 666 for you with his hands as he's crossing his fingers, right? Or you think that's just, somebody was like, hey, I want to take photographs of Usher. Hey, I want to put a blindfold over you, but pull your one eye out, make a 666 with your fingers, and then cross your other ones. Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? And of course, if you don't think that that's the 666 hand sign, well, here's Usher just doing it blatantly, obviously, right? On the red carpet. Hey, Usher, cheese, everything's A-okay. Is that what he's saying? No, he's holding up the symbol, the 666 sign, which, again, has become more known now, so they don't do it as often as they used to. But here's Oprah. Oprah's there, fresh off the Lahaina incident, that Oprah was involved in, right? Oprah, of course, billionaire for just having a talk show, right? Here's Oprah doing the same signs and symbols, right? Holding up the 666 sign. We got many pictures of Oprah doing that, so I guess that's Oprah's connection to Bezos, and then a connection to Usher, and a connection to Orlando Bloom, and a connection to Sydney Sweeney and Tom Brady, right? And the Kardashians and Leo DiCaprio. We're finding the theme here and Jeff Bezos, what the theme is. They're all obsessed with their eyes, right? Is this a optometrist wedding? Is that the theme for the wedding this year? I mean, it's an utter joke, right? And of course, then you get the obvious ones like Bill Gates, right? Just seems to have his hand in everything, right? Bill Gates, just documentary I just broke down in the fall. We're talking about most important things in the world is misinformation and combating misinformation because they don't want you to find out information like this. Because if the people find out that these people and what they're doing behind closed doors and what they're feeding off of, so to speak, which happens as a piece, in regards to the pizza and the red sauce, well, there would actually be something that would stop them from building this new world order. It would be the people. Because the people would stand together if they found out what these people were really doing. So they want to combat misinformation. They want you to find out the truth, right? And what else is Bill really obsessed with? Well, he's obsessed with getting, sticking you in the arm. He's obsessed with climate change, right? Really has his hand in everything. And somehow he's connected to Jeff Bezos too. Why? Because he had Microsoft and Bezos had Amazon? Sure. You want to believe that, right? And then you get all these other random ones like Tommy Hilfiger. Let's just look at a couple of these random ones real quick. Tommy Hilfiger's there, okay? If you think these people who are designers are famous and rich because they design wonderful clothes, they design stuff, they show you the signs and symbols in their clothing, okay? And then they tell you that it's a fad and they get you to wear it. They tell you, ooh, that Louis Vuitton was selling for $1,000. The celebrities are wearing it. Then they make you want Louis Vuitton. They make you want to wear these fashion trends. They use the celebrities to push their products. These people are only famous and rich because they're in on it too. And if you watch the movie Zoolander 2, which again is pretty unbearable to sit through, with Satanist Ben Stiller and of course Will Ferrell, who I've exposed many times, videos available on the website. I got a many on Will Ferrell, including his dinner ceremony with Marina Abramovich. But they show you in that movie.
Now you don't have the ceremonial night, which means no fountain of youth.
We need the blood.
Derek, we need the blood. Blood of Steve. Blood of Steve.
All the designers, all these people, Tommy Hilfiger, you name them. You name the most famous designers. They're all together underground at a fashion show before the fashion runway shoot. What are they doing? They're doing a ritual offering of a young boy, right? What a coincidence, right? It's Zoolander's son. Oh, right. I guess, that was just a script that they randomly thought. They're like, we're going to make a comedy about this weird, blue steel and these faces that, models make and make a joke of the whole model industry. But we're going to throw in ritual sacrifice in the film. All right? Of course, they do this to desensitize you so that when you see stuff like that, it becomes fiction in your mind and you don't realize that that's really what's actually happening. In fact, there's more truth to movies than there is on the news. The news is manufactured. It's to manufacture your behavior. So then we get somebody else, even Diane von Furstenberg, and this is going through the list of the people invited. Every single person on the list has a connection to the occult. Everyone. Even Diane. You might say, who is Diane? Well, this is Diane, and look at this. Diane, 78, just recently in February, shared a gnarly black eye. Look at that. Boy, what a coincidence, right? Well, how did that happen? Oh, scary fall. A lot of these celebrities seem to be falling, right? Look at all these celebrities who have black eyes. Of course, it's the Black Eye Club. All these celebrities just get punched in the face, right? You never hear about lawsuits, right? Presidents get punched in the face. You get, Stephen Colbert's, you get Ben Affleck, you get Robert Downey. Who punched them? Who punched him? Well, of course, it's part of the ritual, part of their hazing ritual, the Black Eye Club that they do out in the open. And recently, I guess they just got Diane von Furstenberg at 78 years old. You can find almost every celebrity with a black eye. Most recently, I did a video. Of course, it's gone. But I did a video on Elon Musk and the Black Eye Club. It is available on the website. So that's a designer, by the way, Diane Furstenberg, who designs clothes for Michelle Obama, Michael, J-Lo, Madonna, all these celebrities, right? But I guess it's because, they're real good fashion designers. And if you're out there and that was what your dream was, you're not good enough. That's what they tell, they want you to believe that you can be, but that they're so much better than you are. Then you look at the fashion trends. You watch some of these shows, these runway walks, right? You look at some of the photographs. Sometimes I'd see them when I'm doing videos on them. And you just go, no one's wearing this out in the public. Kanye West's fashion show. Of course, it's all a front. It's a laundering industry, the modeling industry, the art industry. That's what it's there for. And that all goes back to, the theme of Jeff Bezos' wedding, right? Or at least one of the nights, the pizza party. So in addition to that, we got Veronica Grazer, just some random person there with the husband, Brian Grazer. What's he known for? Well, he's known for producing the Da Vinci Code, a movie about what? About the Illuminati. Must be a coincidence as well. So I just wanted to show you the dots connected between the people who are there, because it's a list and people go, that's random, that's random. Oh, that's random, that's random. They're all famous, they're all rich, they all flew out to Venice, right? Well, you could see the connection. They're all in the same club. And you're not in that club. But I see people say, oh, I want to be in that club. Do you? Do you? Because you don't know what you would actually have to do to be in that club. And it's the thing of horrors. It's the thing that most human beings could never imagine doing. And it all revolves around that pizza. So I'll leave it at that. That's the connection between all these people, whether they admit to being witches. Tom Brady's wife admits to doing rituals and having altars. The Kardashians openly tell you that witches don't age because of what? Well, why don't witches age? Well, have you noticed the pizza, the witches don't age, the red sauce that they constantly reference? That's what they believe, and that's what they live off of and feed off of. And that's why a lot of them live to be in their hundreds. We don't really know when they actually exit the stage, because whenever these celebrities actually die, most of them don't really even die then. They've already been dead a long time, or they've exited the stage and gone on somewhere else to live out their days in private, as most people have heard with some of these celebrities like the Elvises, the Michael Jacksons, etc. So Jeff Bezos' wedding, I mean, I couldn't avoid doing a second video. I know most people didn't see the original video. I did a joke video on my other channel, which I hope everybody's subscribing to. Kind of just joking about the people there. But when I saw the headline about the extravagant pizza party, I could not do a video. Because the main joke that everyone was cracking about his wedding was, is it a pizza-themed wedding? And guess what? There you go. It's an extravagant pizza party. How much more in our faces could it get? And these people don't care because they know they've trained the sheeple out there to think that we're all nuts and we're all conspiracy theorists. So yeah, well, why don't you guys then who think that we're all nuts and we're all conspiracy theorists, why don't you connect the dots as to how these people all know one another? It's just if you're rich, you automatically do, because there's a lot of people who have millions of dollars. Crypto guys, they have millions, billions of dollars, right? Are they all going to Jeff? Are they getting an automatic invite because they're billionaires, right? Of course not. These are the members of the club, ladies and gentlemen. They reveal themselves every single day right in front of our faces. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.